I wanted to get back to what you were saying though, Zach, just because we have discussed this offline as well, about what your daughter was saying to you about expectations or having that sort of goal. I mean, would you say though that it really very much depends on the child? Like, in other words, I don't know if it's a one size fits all. Like I've talked to you about my relationship with my oldest. I mean, I have a great relationship with all my kids, but different, each of them is unique. And I've always said that my son, being the oldest and closest in age and just the relationship we have, I really do consider him like a best friend in many ways. There is that idea of the fact that I'm his father, but definitely like the way I was brought up and the way I brought him up are very different. So I'm just wondering, and I mean, I don't know, he hasn't said anything to me, which doesn't mean necessarily that he feels that I was there for him as a dad in the way he would have wanted me to be, but I believe I was. So I'm just curious, like, do you think that the whole idea of friendship, it really depends on the child? Like, it could work in some instances, or is it more sort of, it's something that doesn't really work generally when somebody's in a role as a father?
Well, I definitely don't want to critique or qualify your relationship with your son. I don't know it, and I don't want to talk in generalities either, but I can say for my kids, I can speak only from my experience, but they, what they complain about is the lack of that patriarchal, hierarchical dad, powerful dad, disciplinarian dad, but they like the friendly dad. They don't talk about him much, but he was the one that climbed into bed with them every night and read them stories and tickled them and carried them on his back and, held them when they needed to go to sleep and woke up in the middle of the night to help my ex nurse them and stuff like that. So they don't necessarily talk about that, but I do think they appreciated that. But I think my kids could have used a dad that, I think somehow my fears and my anxieties didn't stay with me. They filtered through down to my kids, and I would do anything to have gone back and be able to hold those better. So my existential fears about money, my existential fears about my capacity as a dad to hold it all together, going to work and showing up and putting the food on the table and finding time and energy for me. I don't know where I went for 25 years. And I think whether in words or in feeling or in my psychology, they felt the weight of my weight. And I know I felt that for my mom. I think she did her best to kind of be a mom from a distance, but I do feel like she had expectations that she put on her kids that were adult in nature and were things that we couldn't help with her displeasure or sadness around not feeling fulfilled with my dad. But there's nothing I could do with that as a kid. But I felt that she invested me with that. So like, I don't know, I think if I could do a do-over, obviously you don't have a chance to do-over, but if I could, it would be to hold out. And I just touched this. I want to mention this. This was something that was really tender to me. My second eldest daughter is thinking of moving out of the house, and I met up with her. And in this stage of my relationship with my kids, I feel like I am, because I only see them occasionally, the energy that I bring is like, wow, I really see you and I see what you're going through. I listen better. And then I want to encourage them. For a variety of reasons, this is the role I've taken. I want to encourage them and hold out a vision for them about, I know it's hard. They're all struggling with stepping out into their lives as young adults. I see that you can do it. I see that it's hard for you, but I got your back and you're going to be able to do that. And I feel like they can really use that fatherly support and push. Anyway, I said that to her as she's thinking of moving out. And she said, but wait, I'm so hurt. Don't you remember what happened? Like she was still stuck in the pain of what I wasn't able to give to her as a child. And it was like, I was holding out this vision of, wow, a new life and thing. She's still grappling with what she didn't get, and that's her journey now, is to become an adult and to take ownership of that. But it was a kind of a wake-up call for me too, because like holding that out for a child who really still feels like we haven't worked through the messy stuff, didn't work. It didn't work for her. So that just happened this week, and it was something that is still very much alive in me.